speak slowly and clearly for me because you are rather faint. Yes, well, we are talking about the middle 1960s. I had enjoyed quite long runs in a series of game shows, quiz shows, etc. And I found it was the best way to keep myself on the screen, keep the public aware of my presence, without burning up a lot of comedy material by doing a sitcom or stand-up. But I was looking for another vehicle, if possible a game show or a quiz, and I heard about Der Güldene Schuss, or whatever it was called, that Lou was negotiating with the Swiss German to buy this program that had been invented by Werner and Hannes Schmidt, and was quite a success in West Germany. So I've started negotiating quietly to try and get myself into it. Lou had decided that Jackie Ray, a Canadian singer, was just the guy for it. The reason he'd done this was because there'd been a Charlie Drake half hour in which Charlie, in the story, took part in a game show, and the game show host was Jackie Ray. Now, Lou, for all his shrewdness, was quite naive about some things. He didn't realize that the part was scripted and that Jackie Ray had learned the role. He just thought he came over as a rather dapper quizmaster. So he signed Jackie Ray to do the Golden Shot, and I was disappointed because I had hoped I was in the running for that role, because I thought it might be a good thing to keep me on the air for a while, maybe 6 months or so. Meantime, Jackie Ray started the show, and it turned out that he was not really right for it. He found a great difficulty in ad-libbing. He couldn't remember the rules. The show itself was humorless. The targets were very boring. There were triangles and circles and squares. They had no personality, no comedy in them. The guest stars simply came on and fired, but for no purpose.
Thank you very much. John Junkin, ladies and gentlemen.
They didn't win anything, and they didn't do anything. And the contestants were unexciting. The show was, frankly, the show stank. By this time, they were hiring comedians to go on it to try and liven it up. And I think I tell the story in my autobiography of how my agent said, I want you to do it. And I said, I don't want to do it. And he said, you go out there and murder them. And I planned for a week to do the best possible spot I could. And it went tremendously well. And within a matter of days, Lou Grader decided to replace Jackie Ray with me.
Right at touch. Stop. Left at touch. Stop. Fire.
And my agent negotiated an astonishing fee for the time, and I went into it for that money, and Lou never really forgave me. But the show did pick up in the ratings, and we made a success of it by using themed programs. So we just juiced up the whole thing and made it much more exciting and more entertaining. And then I think, again, it's in my book that young Michael Grade remarked to his uncle Lou, there's nothing on Sunday afternoons. That's why the cinemas are full. And that's when Lou had this inspiration of moving the show to Sunday afternoon or Sunday early evening. And it did, of course, what subsequently the Antiques Roadshow has done, enormous business, because the switch on at that time, people have come in, the whole family's gathered, they want a family show. So the program then ran the best part of 10 years, so we had a tremendous run out of it. With the Golden Shot, there was some kind of ruling at the time from the Independent Broadcasting Authority that we had to take contestants in rotation. I never understood that, but it meant that we got a lot of people who weren't very interesting, and some very inhibited people, and on one occasion a partially sighted woman with a twitch. So the accidents began purely fortuitously, and they gave the show a kind of a cachet. It became a little bit of a cult that we were there. So when we moved up to what was originally called the Paradise Center, the color studios up on the hill, it became even more frantic because the new equipment was worse than the old equipment, and that nobody knew how it worked. So people were inclined to wheel color cameras forward and pull plugs out, and detonators were put in by inexperienced and very polished in my presentation, which could be irritating. The fact that hell and fury were going on all around me was very humanizing. Because I had a series of different producers and directors, we didn't stick with the same staff. I was the only constant for all those years, so most of my ideas were accepted by people who were coming in to do the show for the first time, and a great many of them were directors and producers who were fairly inexperienced and had been allocated to the Golden Shot as a learning experience. So quite a number of those directors, from John Schultz Conway through to Anthony J. Bacon, I hardly remember all the names. They were people who were just given the job, and they were inclined to come along and say, okay, what do you want me to do? It meant a great deal of the invention was coming from me and from whoever I had working with me on the script. I was eager to go back. It was a series in which all the contestants were celebrating something, either celebrating a birthday, a wedding anniversary, or a divorce, or whatever it was they had to. And we had the theme song, "This is your golden day, everything's coming your way," which was written by Stephanie DeSykes and Barry Blue. And that was my idea, that we should switch the show to celebrants, people who really had something to celebrate. So there was a great feeling of welcome there, and I was full of anticipatory glee. I felt that one of the great things about the Golden Shot was the fact that it was a cottagey sort of quaint show. There were suggestions that it could be updated with laser beams and people floating in space and very modern targets of the Star Wars variety, but I always felt that would be a disaster. In fact, if we ever revived the Golden Shot, and there has been much talk of it, particularly from Mark Wells, the controller of Carlton, I'd always recommended that if they did that, they must still go back to those creaky crossbows, and the physical business of actually firing a bolt 35 feet across a studio was still important to the oddity of the show. In fact, I would push the show more in that direction to make it even more of a cottage industry. Suddenly, ATV acquired Family Feud, which we retitled Family Fortunes, and they wanted that to go out on weekends. So they decided, with the cooperation of the IBA or ITA, I think it was by then, who said, well, you've had 10 years or so out of the Golden Shot, and they were inclined to say, you can't go on milking the same cow. So they closed down shows like Opportunity Knocks and others, because they've been running a long time. So I think there was a feeling that longevity, we'd had a long run out of it, that was enough, and there's new shows waiting to be done. I was very sorry to leave it for the time that I did when I went to Australia for a while and did other things, although it was time for me to move on, I know that. It was a period of great joy for me. I really enjoyed it immensely.